going to have time on our hands.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, we're live.
Hey, we're live.
We're there. We're here. We're there. We're everywhere.
We're on the tube of views.
Your tube, my tube.
Our tube.
You're in the thing, I assume, right? Did you change your internet settings? Are we on your good internet?
Ooh, let me see. No, we are. Oh, yeah, we're on the good internet, but it's
Wow.
still low signals here. So
You mean on the VS whatever
yeah,
Ninja?
I'm on the
OBS Ninja?
5.4, but my signal coming in only has like 2 bars out of 4.
All right,
So
let's see what I can do here. Bantha.
is it real laggy over there?
I don't think so. Hold on, let me. All right, so you're there. I'm going to change the settings of this to change the room quality.
Change the room quality. You
All right.
can't change my singing quality.
No, we cannot, Rob.
Nope. There's no help for that.
All right.
All right.
I think we're golden, Pony Boy.
All right.
Are you ready for the stuff?
Let me do the Audacity. I can
The
start
audacity
recording
of
that.
you.
The audacity of you
can't even
using
believe it.
Audacity.
I can't even believe it. A free program.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I am ready. Oh, hold on. I'm going to stop recording
He's not
because
ready.
I forgot our little
Our intro.
intro. Yeah. So we're just talking about stuff.
On this episode, Rob and Nick, remember they have a podcast.
That's it. Here we go. On this episode of BanthaMilk Podcast, Rob and Nick remember that they have a podcast. Intro music.
Wait, that's not it.
What? He's no good to me, Dad.
Intro music.
Mortality.
Intro music.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
Oh, yeah, it is.
You heard it here.
We're here.
First.
We're here, and we're alive. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I have to warm up my instrument.
La, 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 la.
That's nice. You should have done that before you recorded your Kings Road podcast.
Kings Road
intro.
podcast.
Oh boy! Hey everybody, we're back.
We're back.
My gosh, it's this BanthaMilk podcast. We're back.
BanthaMilk podcast.
And we're here mostly because I needed a drink, so I'm going to open this. No, we're here because Star Wars still exists, and so do we.
Yes.
It's been one heck of a summer. I got to tell you, I think the last time we live streamed, I wasn't this tan. Now that I'm looking at myself in the live stream, I'm just cracking right into our BanthaMilk right.
Crack right into the BanthaMilk. Let's get started.
I brought it in my
in your flask.
I don't like sand. Flask that Bill
right
got me.
for the wedding gift.
Oh
yes.
yeah.
So while you're drinking that, I am once again drinking El Segundo. Easy for you to say.
A Segundo try.
Segundo. El Segundo.
There it is.
My Spanish is muy bien. There it is.
You don't know the monster you've unleashed. And I only had like 10 minutes to tinker with this before.
And you already
Next
have a
time,
couple of good
ready.
sound effects
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yep. Steve Austin's Broken Skulls IPA, bringing it back. I have a 4-pack of these, so the next 2 shows.
Oh yeah, you know what's happening.
There's going to be some
There
more.
Do you drink during the Kings Road podcast?
No, we don't. We don't.
So that's where this one has the edge.
So there is a brewery in South Jersey, Kings Road Brewery. So Kim said we should get them to be our sponsor. I said perfect. I said you need to go in and talk to them because you're a girl and they like giving free stuff to girls. If I go in, they'll go,
hey, here's this dude. This dude Rob wants us to give him stuff.
Some
Rob's
dude,
back again?
Rob, I don't know.
What's Rob doing here?
What's he doing here? Keep him away.
Oh boy. Well, you look at that. You're actually getting some pretty good pour on that.
Yeah, but look, even
it just
still,
exploded. At
it
the
does.
End there.
And it was a
Maybe
slow
it's the
pour.
humidity of your basement.
It could be.
That might be.
That's the only thing. Yes. I don't know, but whatever. We'll figure it out. It'll work itself out in a little bit. But
there
okay.
But we're back.
We are back,
and we're just as good at pouring beer as we ever were.
As we always are.
It's been a long summer, but we're heading out of it into a fall season, and there is some Star Wars stuff on the horizon.
Yes, I did find some news for us.
I like news. I really.
So we can.
Are we ready for news? I don't know if I put the news in the thing.
Uh-oh. Nick dropped the ball on that one.
I have social medias, which we don't need anymore. I do have it. It's okay.
Oh, you do have it?
I do have it. Look at me.
All
right.
Look
at me.
Well, let's get into that after we go through all the fun stuff. Like, where can you find us?
Where can you find us?
You can find us on
Instagram
at BanthaMilk Podcast.
Yeah, and on Facebook at BanthaMilk Podcast.
Yes.
Really, the big thing on there is to go to our group.
Sacred
Facebook.com/groups/Sacred
Jedi.
Jedi Text.
That's right.
Right.
Go there, check it out.
Talk
There's a
to
lot
us.
of fun memes. Even our friends put up memes on there as well. So
Yeah,
check that
my
out.
wife is like, I think, winning right now so far as like quality content on there.
Her
so we need,
and Jeannie.
yeah,
Jeannie does a lot. And
yeah. So we need y'all
Yeah.
to like to take control here. 'cause my wife's
Ryan
ego's getting too big.
RGH just put one up there the other day. It was pretty funny.
RGH?
Yeah, RGH put one up there. He's
Alright.
one of our diehard
Oh, yeah.
loyal fans.
Thank you, Ryan.
listeners. Yes,
Keep it
thank
up.
you, Ryan.
Keep it up, man.
So yeah, so check us out on there, anywhere you buy podcasts, you can buy us.
You can buy podcasts.
You can, yes.
You wouldn't download a car.
You would download a car to get a podcast.
That's
It's like
true.
that Buick commercial where he's like, "I love our new Alexa," because it has
'Cause
Alexa
'cause,
built
yeah,
into it. Yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty bad. But anywho, and I've been listening to other podcasts. Everybody's asking them to rate them on the Apple podcast stuff,
Yeah,
and the Google podcast
I never even really
stuff.
thought about the rating thing because, like, I listen
Yeah.
on Spotify, and I don't think that Spotify does the rating thing, do they?
No, I think I
They
don't
might.
know.
They might have like a star system.
Yeah, I think they do have. So if you can rate us, whatever you listen to us on, please do. Even if you just give us 5 stars without saying why you gave us 5 stars, please hook us up there with a couple of stars. We like stars.
Yeah.
Nick and I are superstars in our own mind. So please,
My mom thinks I'm a pretty cool guy.
your mom does
I'm
think
just
you're a
saying.
pretty cool guy. I will say that. Yes. So so check us out on there. Don't forget the Ears Up friend, all our friends over at Ears Up in depth. The Taco Supreme
Ears
guys.
Up in Supreme.
Ears Up in Supreme
Ears
Tacos.
Up
Yes.
in-
The Eric Johnson channel. He's
Yeah.
on every single show now.
Not this one.
Not this one, but he has been a guest on here.
That's true.
So he has been.
You'll
on
have to
this-
pry this show from my dead cold fingers,
Right.
Eric.
That's right, and I
saying.
think he'll be happy with that because he's on quite a few shows. So he's like,
You don't think he's just like Grievous, just adding more?
just
to his
adding
collection?
more. Yeah, just keeps on adding more. He would love to, I think. So yeah, so check them all out.
Sorry.
There you go. Oh, look at
yeah.
that!
I got pitch bending.
Nick
man.
has found out some fun things that he can do with the sound effect board. I like
Yeah,
it.
we're only gonna get weirder from here.
That works for
It's
me.
all weird.
Well, we have until September 23rd, so we
So-
really we'll have at least one more show before
Well, I'd
then.
imagine we're gonna get one more solid and/or
Trailer,
before then. And then after that, what is there? 3 episodes dropping at once.
Yeah, because
So that first episode is gonna be a doozy for us.
Dave Filoni said, I really like those guys over at BanthaMilk podcast, but I'm gonna really give them nothing to talk about because I'm gonna release all the shows
At
in one
once.
time.
Yeah.
So they have one big week and then that's it. But yeah, so they are dropping 3 episodes at the.
But what are there, like 9 or 10 episodes?
There's only like
in it?
9 episodes. Yeah.
So that's like a third of the season.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Ahsoka's soon after that, right?
Ahsoka soon. Well, okay, so sure. And then I also read I just read today, that ain't it. Let's do the
Might
news.
as well.
There you go.
Oh boy. Anyway,
Brian is mad now. He's
Yeah,
like,
sorry,
what did
Brian.
you do to us?
he's gonna send us a cease and desist.
Yeah, he's like, that's not how I wrote that. So there is a question. Because originally Andor was supposed to come out in August,
Right, like nowish.
like nowish, and September 20 wait, hold on. September 28th, Bad Batch 2 was confirmed to come out
Right.
on September 28th. Now they're both going to be real, or is it going to be September 21st is now Andor.
Right.
But then the first episode of the Bad Batch will be on September 28th. So they're going to be having 2 Star Wars series
Going
at the
once.
same
Wow,
time.
that hasn't happened ever.
No, that hasn't happened ever. But so that's what, because there hasn't been any new announcements as to when Bad Batch season 2 is coming.
Right.
They confirmed it was coming for September 28th, but that was before Andor was pushed back. And then since it's been pushed back, they haven't said
So as
anything
of
about
right
the Bad
now,
Batch
we're
2
under the assumption that the Bad Batch 2 is on track to release when
on
they
September
told us
28th.
to,
Right.
pending them going, fooled you.
Yeah.
Which happens occasionally.
Which
so-
happens, which will be interesting to see if that actually happens. Now, the only reason I can see that they wouldn't change it is because they do have such a lineup coming with Ahsoka and Mandalorian 3 and all the other shows that
And then
they
there's
have.
The Acolyte is
The
supposed to be coming
Acolyte,
next year.
Yeah.
and-
So they do have everything lined up. So I don't think they want to push everything else back And since Bad Batch is a animated series, it's not like there's two live actions going
Yeah,
against each
they're not
other
going
at
to
the
be
same time.
drawing each other's audience away from each
Yeah.
other.
So I have a feeling that they're gonna keep it. Now I did. Did you watch all of Bad Batch the first season?
I think I missed the last episode, man. Like
Oh.
we were doing the
Yeah.
breakdowns, and then like something happened. I don't know,
Life. Yeah.
maybe life happened, or else maybe like the Mandalorian came out. And we were like, all right, let's go back to the
Yeah.
juicy stuff.
Yeah.
But I think the Bad Batch just didn't capture me as much as Rebels did.
Okay.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I ever finished the last episode.
And I mean, I liked it. I did like the fact that all those 5 clones were all so different. I did like that aspect of it.
The bad guy ever turn back to good?
The bad guy didn't not turn back to
Oh,
good.
bummer.
Yeah, no.
That was sad because like it wasn't his fault.
Right. Oh wait, I take that back. That bad guy, the one Bad Batch guy. That yes, he did turn back to good.
Right, that would have been bummer.
And then I think he wound up leaving with Rex or something like that. I forget exactly how it went since we didn't do the breakdown. It's I remember being a good ending. And then the girl was still like with the clones.
Right.
So yeah, so we're gonna have to rewatch it.
Yeah, I guess so.
We both forget what it was like.
Yeah.
I do remember liking it though, so that'll be interesting. I will be into watching it. Hopefully we can do breakdowns. I mean, we're not gonna be able, I don't know. We'll see what happens if we do them both at the same time, or if we do Bad Batch after Andor is done in that hiatus between whatever.
I think we'll be happy just to have content to podcast about.
I think so too. Speaking of content to podcast about, over the summer we play this little game called Rob Reads Books. We need a sound effect for that. So on our last podcast, I was talking about I just started the Black Spire book. Shazam by Delilah S. Dawson.
Delilah Dawson. That's a good name.
It is a good name. I haven't reached out to her. I do want to reach out to her because she has written other Star Wars books as well. I want to see if she would be interested
Have our people talk to her
in coming onto our show. Yes.
Who are our people?
You and I are our people.
We need better people.
We need better people. Yeah. So I did read this one. It was long. It was good. I liked it because there was a lot of references to stuff that was going on in the Black Spires outpost,
Right.
which for those of you that live under a rock is Star Wars land in Disney World and Disneyland.
Sure.
So they had a lot of callbacks to anything. Ronto Roasters, the Olga's Kitchen. Olga is like the gang lord who runs the whole city.
Okay.
So she's very prominent in it. And even V, the girl who's on the cover, she walks around Black Spire's outpost. You can find her. You can see her, and she's doing like little spy missions and stuff like that. And when we were walking through, Trey was like, "There she is."
Huh.
I was like, "Oh yeah." So it was cool.
She's on my book cover.
She's on my book. Yeah. Chewbacca's in it. It was a good read. I really liked it a lot. I'm not going to go through too much of it because
Where would you place it on our scale if we were to give it a drink rating?
Oh, on our drink scale rating?
Yeah.
It definitely would not be a.
We're not talking a Yoda.
We're not talking a Yoda. We're not talking a Leia, but probably a Chewbacca.
Okay,
it would be a good Chewbacca.
Solid Chewbacca.
A solid Chewbacca. Yeah.
There's a little fly just right on my.
I know. He's so. I'm surprised he's still here, but then it's going to mess everything up.
Anyway, just know that right here, if you're watching on YouTube, there's a bug.
There's a bug right above
the
the
camera. He's just
camera.
staring at me.
He is.
Like, what are you going to do about it?
Licking his hands the way they do.
Yeah. Anyway.
So that was good. So that was a very good one. Then when I finished that piece, I read the 3 latest Thrawn books. We talked about that last time.
Yes, I need to get on that still.
And I loved them. I thought they were awesome. They were really, really good. So then after I read that, I was actually hearing Eric talk about something, and he said about how he's happy that Timothy Zahn was able to. They brought his character into the Rebels. Timothy Zahn is the writer of the Thrawn series.
Who am I thinking? There's an actor from the 90s, Zahn.
I don't know.
And I know it's not that guy. Anyway, go on.
Anyway, so he was like, he's like, I'm really happy that they brought his character in from the books, whatever. So then I was like, okay, well, let me read his old Thrawn books.
Okay, sorry. Steve Zahn.
Steve Zahn.
Remember Steve Zahn from That Thing You Do and Chicken Little and the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series, of course.
Of course.
He was the bass player. who
Okay.
went on the roller coaster in that thing you do. Anyway, go on.
Anyway, there you go. So now you know who the Zon is that you were thinking
Yeah,
of.
that was very relevant. Go
That
on.
was so. Hey, look,
That's a new book there. That
this
looks
is
nice.
the original one.
Okay, so that's the extended universe before the canon
Right. So
restart. That looks
this
nice. That's a nice looking book.
yeah. They have. It's funny. There's two different printings of it in my local bookstore. This one a larger size, and one of a smaller size. And I was like, oh, since I'm old and I need reading glasses, let me get the larger one. Still need the
Still
reading
small,
glasses. Yeah. But this one was originally copyrighted in 1991.
Sure. Oh yeah, that's
So
that's
yeah,
a 30-year-old book.
a
Man.
30-year-old
That's crazy.
book. So this is the first trilogy that he wrote about Thrawn.
Now this, have you read any of this yet?
I read this
so
whole
does this
first
go into
one.
the Chiss ascendancy and like
No,
okay,
the new ones went into the Chiss ascendancy and stuff like that.
That's pulled from the old stuff, so I'm sure you'll get some of that
Right
in
when
here.
you get into this.
Yeah.
So I was really excited, and it was funny to me. This is a good book. The
new ones are
three
better?
newest ones I would put at Yoda.
Okay.
Like really good. Like you're rooting for Thrawn.
Which
like,
is not something you
it's
should
not
wanna
something
do.
you should be wanting to do, but
you
you're
do.
rooting for him. You're
Yeah.
like, dude, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's go. Empire all the way.
That's how they get you. That imperial propaganda.
I know. And that's what I was like falling for it. I was totally falling for it.
Now we know how it happened.
This one, and I was saying to Sherry, like, you can see how 30 years go by, his writing style has changed and gotten better, in my opinion.
So he wrote that and he wrote the new ones.
Yes.
Right.
And there's this original trilogy. There's another trilogy in between that he wrote, and then the new trilogy, which does talk about this say it again.
Chiss ascendancy.
Yes, all them. And so they're really good. And like the second one of that trilogy is one we were talking about a little bit last time, where it was like two different time frames. One time frame
Anakin,
he was with Anakin, another time frame he was with Darth Vader,
right.
and they were on the same planet. And so that was pretty cool as well. This one is more of a Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo book than it is a Thrawn book.
I see. It's about their confrontation with Thrawn more so than Thrawn himself.
And there's so much about Luke and Leia and Han that you're really not rooting for Thrawn in this book.
Right.
And, you know, what we've said last time and what a lot of people have said, Thrawn's so smart. The only time that he ever fails is because other people fail him. They don't follow his ideas. They go, oh, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. And then they do it wrong, where if they would have done it his way, they would have done it right. He does think ahead a little bit in this book, but this is, like I said, it's more of a Luke Skywalker Han Solo book than it is a Thrawn book. So I'm reading it and I'm going, I wanted to read a Thrawn book. Where's Thrawn in the Thrawn book? So I was telling Sherry, she goes, well, just put it down and get another book. And I'm like, no, I have to finish this because that, you know, but I did finish it. It was good.
But not what you were hoping for.
Not what I was hoping for. And because it's not what I was hoping for, if you would have asked me in the first half of the book, it would have been a Porg rating because I wanted Thrawn so bad.
So where was it at the end?
At the end, it was a good Chewie.
So do you think your opinion on it would have changed if you read that one first versus the later ones first? Because the writing has
because the writing has evolved. Probably.
Because you wouldn't have gone into it with an expectation.
Right. I wouldn't have expected so much Thrawn. With the new ones, it's all Thrawn. And you're like, yes, like you're.
So maybe if you had gotten a taste of Thrawn with the old ones and then you got into this, you're like, oh man, I'm all about him.
And which is the way he wrote it, was like an intro, character building, an intro to Thrawn in this book. And then the second one, I didn't get to the second one yet, but I'm sure in the second one there's more because this one really like ends and, you know, they win the mission and then right away it's like, oh, but by the way, this happens. And that's where book 2 starts.
Right.
So it's like they're really like, you have to read book 2 now because we gave you such a big cliffhanger.
Well, that's because in the 90s, it was like, hey, this is all you got.
Yeah.
You don't have
there's
a new limited series coming out.
There's no
so
movies,
or
there's no TV shows, so you got to enjoy the books. Yeah. So I did reach out to him actually on Facebook.
Yeah.
I sent him a message and I said, look, part of this podcast, BanthaMilk podcast. We have millions of followers. I loved your books. I read the last 3. I'm reading the new ones. We'd love to have you on. And he said, I'm busy.
Is that literally just I'm busy, no period, no apostrophe.
No apostrophe.
I am busy.
Busy. That was it. No, he was a little nicer than that, but basically it was I'm busy. So
one day when we're on the top, he's gonna rue this day.
He said, "Thanks for the invitation. Unfortunately, I'm too inundated. Thank you, with work to take on any additional podcast interviews, etc., for the foreseeable future."
In other words, come back at me when you have 18 million
exactly.
followers.
I said, "I understand. I love your writing and your books. I keep an eye open for any time you are in the I will keep an eye open for any time you're in the Philadelphia area for a book signing. Thank you for your response." And he did see it. But yeah, that's what we got out of it. So the invitation is always there, sir. You are
Steve's on. Come on down.
Steve's on.
Hey, maybe if we reach out to Steve's on.
Steve's on might actually show up.
Like he's a pretty chill dude.
Yeah,
he seems like a chill dude.
He'll be like, that's cool. I'd be like,
man.
Remember when you wrote that book? And he'll be like, dude, you got the wrong song.
Hey, that was like when we had who do we have on? And
John Jackson
Miller. And I was like, hey man, I didn't do that.
And he was like, no, I didn't write that.
All right, man.
He was getting a little salty too.
I mean, I would too.
Yeah.
Like, do your damn research
be like,
before
dude,
you interview me.
Yeah.
I get it.
What are you guys, a bunch of amateurs? Yes.
You see this masking tape that's holding our sign up
holding
here?
the sign up? That should
answer.
tell you right there that we're a bunch of amateurs. Yes.
Maybe we should lead with that in our emails from now on. Just FYI, we're amateurs.
We're amateurs.
Yeah, that'll get people to come.
Yeah, we're amateurs with a very large following. Wink, wink. Yeah. So come check us out.
I think one of the greatest snake oil salesman moves of all time for us would be to hoodwink some really famous person into thinking that we are also really famous and plugging into our show. Can you imagine how famous we would get as a Star Wars podcast if we have all these 80 some odd shows we have out right now?
Yeah.
And we kind of, but then all of a sudden, like freaking like I don't know. General Hux? What's the actor? That dude.
Yeah, General Hux. Yeah, he just shows up.
Or like Wilro Hoof, like that actor. That's
Yeah.
the kind of guy we could get on here and just propel us to the top. Yeah, we're getting a clicking. You hear that?
Yeah, I do hear it. Hold on.
What did you do, Rob?
I messed up a cable. Is it gone now?
It's gone.
It's gone now. This cable, I think we need some new wires.
We could put that in the
budget
in the
for
ears up
fiscal year
budget.
2023.
2023.
Yeah.
Call our accountants.
That's right.
Jason, if you get to have Stephen contact Frederick.
That's
about
right. And
Douglas,
get us,
that'd be great.
And get He's right there.
He's right there.
He's
Salacious
right there.
Crumb. That's him.
So that is my personal Star Wars news. Now, unfortunately, because once school starts, I stopped doing anything leisurely like reading books and stuff. So I don't know when you're going to get the next Rob Reads.
Listen, man,
section.
you've probably got a good at least 7 or 8 solid minutes in the middle of your day that you don't have anything for yet. So you figure, if you work on the next month or so learning to speed read, you could probably finish a book a week.
Yeah, there we go. With the way it is now, it'll be till the end of the school year before I finish one more book.
That's not that's a better record than I have.
Better record than I had last year. Yeah,
audiobooks are your friend, my friend.
So, speaking of audiobooks, on a similar level to that. So, for those of you who have been listening intently and heard our episode 2 shows ago where I did a recap of our visit to Batu.
Oh yeah.
My son Trey, which you didn't hear him at all because he refused to get near a microphone.
Typical
so there's a lot of dead space in there, which really frustrated me. But anyway, teenagers. He's leaving for college. His roommate is a huge Marvel comic and Star Wars fan. So he told me, he would put you to shame talking to me. He knows more about Star Wars than you do. And I say he probably does.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
They're always like, he's probably better. It's like, all right. He is. That's fine.
Maybe that's fine.
I just want to sit in a room with my buddy and drink and talk about Star Wars.
And just talk about Star Wars. Go ahead. You can know it all.
That's
I
fine.
can look it up. That's what Google's for. That's what Wikipedia is for.
Man.
When you say, this character and that character, I can just type it into Wikipedia. I can tell you everything about
what
them.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. It's not like being in the 90s where you just had to take somebody's word for it.
Right? Yeah. Did you know that Luke Skywalker was left-handed?
No.
Gosh. Totally true.
Totally true.
I can't check that. So
I can't check it. Right. So you got to be correct. Yeah, it's crazy. But anywho, since he's big into Marvel, he was telling Trey, you should get into comic books and stuff like that, whatever. So Marvel has a website. Marvel, I guess
Sure.
it's marvel.com.
More than likely.
More than likely. You can pay a monthly subscription to this website, and their entire
Catalog.
catalog, all their comics are there.
Yeah.
Super cool. You can read all the Star Wars comics. You can read
That's cool. I
all the
forgot that
Marvel
was
comics.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
I really like comic books though. Like I don't know that I would love sitting in front of my computer screen and looking at it.
Right.
Because there's something about like a comic book that's just so cool to, I don't know.
See, and that's what's funny because I didn't grow up reading comics.
Neither
and
did I really.
Trey didn't either. He was trying, but he feels the same way that I do. And I know this is blasphemy to those who really like comics, but like you read a comic book, the artwork is amazing. I'm not saying it's not. The storytelling is good, but they're short
Yeah,
because the artwork is so detailed and it
Yep.
takes so long to draw each of the cells and stuff that the stories are pretty short.
Mhm.
Like you can read one, even I can read one in like 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes.
Top, yep.
So it's like, while it's cool, and I know people who say, I read that book 9 times. I'm like, 9 times. You know what that's from?
I do. What is that from?
9 times.
That's gonna annoy me. What is that?
Bueller.
Okay.
He's been absent 9
times.
times.
Yeah, there you
9
go.
times? 9 times.
That's right. That's right.
They're like, I read it 9 times. And I'm like, I read it once. Like, why do you need to read it a second time? The story's good. It's short. I read it and then you put it down.
I remember when I was a kid, I didn't read comics, but I had
Okay.
like 3 comics.
Okay.
One was a Spawn comic book, and it was like definitely too racy for me as a kid. Like I shouldn't have had this comic
Right,
book. There were
right.
a lot of cleavage. It was like, oh god. But like I read that thing 1,000 times.
Okay.
That was the only those were the only comics I had. So like yeah, but like I bought I think we talked about it on the podcast before Fallen Order came out. There were the lead up
Okay.
comic books, and I got a couple of those, and I really liked them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that you blast through them,
Yeah.
and that there's not a lot of really great places just to go and get comics.
Right.
Like good comic book stores are very few and far between.
Yeah.
They have weird hours.
They have weird out. Yeah.
And like my ideal is I drive through, I look, I go, ooh, I'm gonna go to the Star Wars section. There's like 1,000 Star Wars comics there. I pick the one I want and I leave.
Yeah.
That never happens.
Right.
Comic book stores, it's like they'll have 4 Star Wars comics. 3 of them are from like 1997.
Yeah. Even when I got one of them over, not this one, the other one, but when I went into the comic book store and I was even thinking like, I'm going to come back every week. I'm going to get a good rapport with this guy. We'll do some remote shows from there.
Yeah. They don't update their stock that often, really.
Yeah, and it was like it was just far enough away that it was not an ordeal, but it was just far enough away that it was an inconvenience to go. And like you said, the hours are always strange because people aren't going at 9 o'clock at night to comic book stores, so it's like why be open at that point in time? So so I got one comic from him.
These are the problems with being adult children.
Yeah,
this is our problem.
Yeah, this is our problems. So if you want to get back into it or whatever, Marvel.com.
And I might do that, honestly. I mean, again, because like I'm the same. I don't read like I never had a Kindle. You know what I mean? I don't read all that often, really, to be honest. I get most of my literature through audiobooks. But I do read, like I've got a really nice set of the Game of Thrones books. It's like it's like leather bound, it's beautiful, and I'll read those every now and then. But even then, like I get most of my Game of Thrones stuff through audiobook.
Right.
So like I don't know. I love the comic book thing. I just like when I'm at home, I never go, you know what? Let me take my computer out, sit it on my lap, and read some comics.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, let me go to sleep.
Yeah. And the one last thing about it, Trey he was reading some of them on his iPad, and then he was like, oh, I'm gonna read them while I'm at work, because when you work box office, you have a rush of like 10 minutes, and then you have an hour and a half where you're doing absolutely nothing.
Yep.
I was like, oh, you're gonna take your iPad? He goes, they won't say anything if I'm on my phone, but if I'm on my iPad, they will say something. But what he said is neat on your phone is each cell zooms in full screen on your phone.
So you can just kind of scroll.
Yeah, and as you scroll, it does like a whole like animation from cell to cell.
Cool.
So it's pretty cool.
They probably have an app for that, huh?
There's an app.
There's always
there's an app for that.
It's an F for half.
So yeah, so that's back to the books and the audio book, and then a free plug for Marvel to if you want to get back into comics, you can do it cheap and read thousands and thousands of them, especially with all the new stuff that's going on with
Marvel,
with Marvel
with the
and
what ifs. I mean, if you're into Marvel at all, like everything they're doing is based off of some obscure
yeah,
comic book. The what if, even the what if series is based off of comic books.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think
and
there's a
the
what
new
if season
She-Hulk
2
now.
coming out.
Okay, and She-Hulk. Have you watched
She-Hulk
any
that I
She-Hulk?
haven't. I hear it's really good.
It's good so far. I like it.
But I'm a little behind on Marvel.
Okay.
I saw Multiverse of Madness as we talked about, but I
Yep.
haven't seen She-Hulk. There's another one that just came out that I haven't watched either. Wasn't there some other?
There's another
show?
series before. Did you see WandaVision?
I saw WandaVision. I saw all the series except for Hawkeye.
Okay, Hawkeye
And
was good. It was fun.
I hear She-Hulk is pretty good.
She-Hulk so far is good. Yeah.
That's they're doing every week.
Yeah, it's only been 2 episodes so
Okay,
far.
so I'm not too far behind.
You're not
Maybe I
too
can
far
catch up
behind on that. Nope.
If you're not caught up on, by the way, House of the Dragon, I hear there's a really bitchin' podcast out there called the King's Road Podcast.
The King's Road.
The King's Road.
So so go check that out. You might hear some familiar voices and
Love it,
some
yeah.
new voices.
Yep. I was listening on the way in, and Kim does her homework. Kim knows a thing or two about a thing or two. I decided I'm going to be the Doug of your podcast.
Our
I'll
fact
be your
checker.
fact checker.
Nice.
Not much to really report so far.
No, she does her homework.
Yeah.
She knows her stuff.
Yeah.
She's read the book that this series is based
Oh
off
yeah, it's a
of.
great book.
She read it
That's
a couple
great
of times.
audiobook, I will tell you.
Okay.
If you're looking for a new audiobook, the Fire and Blood audiobook is awesome. I'm actually listening to it again right now because and that's the problem. Like I was like, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna download those Thrawn things. And then that week, House of the Dragon came out, and I'm like, oh, I gotta reread this book.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But like, as you know, obviously you have the podcast about it. It doesn't pick up till like halfway through the book.
Yeah, that's what Kim was saying. She's
all
like
the stuff
all the
beforehand.
stuff before it that the series hasn't talked about at all.
And I think that they might be thinking about like, all right, well, if this pans out well, maybe we'll do an earlier one where it's House of the Dragon, but it starts with the Conqueror.
Yeah.
So yeah, but check out the King's Road podcast.
King's Road podcast.
There's your plug.
There it is. Thank you very much.
You
So this is a story that came out a day ago on Cinema Blend. One all-time Mandalorian cameo Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni hope to get.
Okay.
So who do you think it would be easy to guess? But
Gary Busey.
Gary Busey.
He's
he's
going to be pretty hard to get cameo in anything anymore, man.
That happened in New Jersey.
Cherry Hill, like down the street
from
here.
Yeah. Poor
I
guy.
literally saw that on the Today Show, and I was like, Pagan, that double tree is like 4 miles from here.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's at the other end of Route 70.
Yep,
so,
I drive by it all the time. Big old towers. Gary Busey, what a weird dude.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
they're looking for one cameo. They're like, we want to get this one cameo. Is it a previous Star Wars character?
It's
not.
Celebrity? A celebrity that they would want to have as a cameo. Yeah.
Weird Al.
Weird Al would be a good choice.
That would be a great one.
That would be great, especially with the new Weird Al documentary
I'm excited
series.
about that.
So I've heard Weird Al in a lot of interviews. I think he was on Howard Stern a couple of times, probably talking about and there was another like biography behind the scenes of Weird Al Yankovic. And he was like, I forget what the guy's name was that was bigger than Weird Al at the time when he was just starting.
Right.
But this guy had his own TV show, and then Weird Al was coming on to it, and then Weird Al became a bigger hit than this guy. So then instead of going from Nick DeSalvio with Weird Al, then it turned into Weird Al with Nick DeSalvio.
Yeah. Story of my life.
Yeah. So I think story of my life. So I think that this Weird Al documentary is like a mockumentary documentary.
It definitely looks like a mockumentary. I mean, if you've seen any of the trailers, it looks so absurd, and I'm so ready for it.
Because like he's like fighting with his bandmates, and like none of that ever. I don't think none of that ever happened. And the whole thing with him and Madonna, there was like a scene with him and Madonna. I'm pretty sure Madonna. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think she had any time for him at all in real life. So if it's like a what was that rock and roll?
Dewey Cox?
No, older, like 80s. Lenny and
Oh.
Squiggy. Lenny was in it.
Uh,
Final Tap.
Spinal Tap.
Spinal Tap. It's like a Spinal Tap type
Yeah.
of documentary. I hope that's what it's like.
I think that's what it's going to be.
Because the
but that's
clips
Weird
seem-
Al. That's so Weird Al. Though.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
every actual report of Weird Al throughout, and he's been making music for something like 40 years now.
Yeah.
Like professionally.
Professionally, yeah.
Every single report I've ever seen of him is just that he's the greatest dude.
Uh-huh.
He's super down to earth.
Yeah.
He treats his band amazing.
Yeah.
And he's got the tightest band ever. If you like listen to the tracks and you like his band, like, you know, he's got horn players for the jazz tunes. Like he's got a really solid band.
Yeah.
They all sound great. By all accounts, he's a pretty normal, like regular, like really talented, ridiculously talented dude. Because like, he plays just about every instrument on all of his stuff.
And the accordion.
Yep. And that's his main instrument.
Yeah.
So, you know, his thing is just that he's freaking weird.
Yeah.
So like
he just and
if they did a regular documentary, I think I'd be a little bummed out.
Even like I saw it on Rainn Wilson's Instagram page. It was like the trailer for it. And Rainn Wilson's character, he goes, Al Yankovic, that name is way too long. He goes, okay, so what should we call you? Weird Al Yankovic. Add more syllables to it and it makes more sense.
Why not? I mean, Weird Al was my very first CD I ever owned.
Okay.
Running with Scissors. And that was the one with The Saga Begins, long time ago.
Oh, such a great song.
Oh,
yeah.
And literally, you know, little 11-year-old me who didn't know he had ADD, just would like sit there, listen to the whole thing, be like, cool, let's start again. Here we go. Let's do it again. That CD is ingrained in my brain.
His parody songs, some of them were charted higher than the original songs.
What was the Blurred Line parody? That one was really. It was about grammar or something. I just remember as a teacher really appreciating
that one. Yeah. So no, Weird Al is not the one that they chose.
I forgot that's where we came from.
Yeah, we came from. Who is the one that they won for a cameo the most?
Yeah, who is it?
So, sticking in the Star Wars world.
Okay, so we're talking old Star Wars characters come back.
Not even characters.
Actors.
Not even actors.
Okay.
Old Star Wars people.
Okay.
Think the original. Think, where did this come from? Whose mind did this come out of?
Okay, so they want George Lucas.
George Lucas, yeah.
Okay.
So,
I guess he really hasn't. I'm trying to think. Has he had any?
So
cameos?
he has.
I think in like Phantom Menace or one of the prequels. He had
yes.
one.
In.
Do you know he also made a cameo in Hook?
No.
So at the end of Hook.
Okay.
Do you know Hook?
Yeah.
Hook was one of my favorite childhood
yeah.
movies. At the end of Hook, the old dude who lost his marbles.
Okay.
He like pours the fairy dust on him. He's like, yeah, and he flies away.
Okay.
As he flies away, he goes around Big Ben, and there's these two people who are like a man and woman who are like kind of embracing each other, and they just start to float up. And the dude is George Lucas.
Yep. That's really funny.
Yep. Anyway,
other dumb cameos like that. I was just rewatching Fast and the Furious was on one of
the original,
the original one.
Wow, I saw that one in the movie theater.
Yeah, I mean
that might be the only one.
So I love that whole series.
Yeah.
But it's just so funny to me. It started as street racing and then somehow turned into them being like super spy, super whatever.
Yeah,
but,
I remember the first one just being like a car movie.
Yeah.
And then I'm seeing these new ones. I'm like, Vince Dorretto, what is happening?
Yeah, exactly. Like like they're launching cars off of one building into another building and like later on. Like it just gets that in the latest one, they went to space in a car. Like a car went, what are you talking? But anywho, in it, there's one scene when they're like the first drag race that they're doing. This pizza delivery guy comes by and he's like, what are you kids doing? And they're like, go around, pizza boy. But the delivery guy was the either producer or director of the movie.
Okay.
So he was like, I'm going to throw myself
I'm
in
Stan
here.
Lee. Here we go.
Here we go. Yeah. So it was really funny. And the acting, it was bad. Like,
I mean,
what are you kids doing? And I'm like, you're the producer or the director.
It's
and
not exactly the franchise that's known for the greatest acting anyway. So like, you know, when you get the producer of, anyway.
Yeah. So,
sure.
Yeah. So they, George Lucas actually was in, the writer director had a cameo in 2005 Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Sure.
His role has been identified
Was
as
he one of the senators, I feel like
Baron
Chamber?
Paponida.
Paponida, of course, sure.
Yes.
Good old Paponida.
Yeah, so he was. So I'm guessing since he was Baron, I'm guessing he was one of the people in that.
Right.
Probably
just like stand over here, George.
Yeah,
and
it was like he was probably right in front of the ETs or something like
yeah,
that.
man. I love that's my favorite little tie-in.
Is that
ever,
the ETs are in
like
there?
now,
Yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, it's canon.
right.
ET was a Jedi.
ET was a Jedi, and now we know ET came here also
From a galaxy
from
far,
a galaxy
far away.
far, far away.
And that's the crazy thing is that it's a galaxy far, far away. It's not a like so like it's a different galaxy. So
Right.
ET went into the outer reaches to the unknown regions and
Right.
somehow found
And found us.
us.
Yes.
But that was a galaxy far, far away and a long time ago. So maybe in the interim, they found a way to traverse deep space past known. Anyway,
right.
we're getting
And
really
breaking
involved here.
time as well.
Sure,
Yes.
breaking the time space continuum.
Space-time
And then
continuum.
Doc Brown drops in on his DeLorean.
On his DeLorean with his
Great Scott.
with his what was it?
Oh, the Mr. Fusion.
Mr. Fusion on the
Yes,
back. Yes.
that's right.
So
We need fuel.
oh no. We don't have any plutonium? No, we don't need that.
That's
Just
right.
put some ice cream in there.
1.21 gigawatts.
Which is funny because it would have the word is gigawatts.
Yeah, and
But
he
because
pronounced
it was
wrong.
so long ago, they didn't even know what a gigawatt was.
Because literally they probably could have Googled it.
but there wasn't
But there
Google
was no
in
Google.
1985.
So the literally like the guy who's in charge of like all the terms and stuff is just like gigawatts sounds fine.
yeah.
It's
like,
gigawatts, man. Trust me. This is what
somebody-
we were talking about earlier. He said it.
He said it.
Couldn't
That's what it was.
dispute it.
No,
That's what it is.
That's what it is. So Filoni said he'd have to be the son of Baron Papanoida or something like that. I don't know. I wouldn't even speculate on that. It's hard for me to imagine what that day would be like, because he was talking about, well, he's been on the set he's been on the set when Dave's been directing. So I love watching Dave and George together. This is John Favreau.
Well,
speaking now.
they have a really interesting relationship, like
Yeah.
a master protege sort of a thing.
Yeah, a Padawan.
Yeah,
Jedi, yeah.
I don't know why I didn't go there. This is a
You
Star Wars
should have. It was
podcast,
so
really
easy.
missed opportunity.
He said, George, I have tremendous respect for. I've been very fortunate to have a great conversation where I've learned a lot. But when I see Dave and George Lucas together, that's like a whole ... How long do you work together? 12 years? Like they just know each other so well. So that would be pretty cool if George Lucas was, whether he was important or just in the background.
And that's what I like that because, and I forget who I was listening. It might have been Star Wars Explained. It's very clear that Dave Filoni cares more about the Star Wars lore than George Lucas. And the reason I say that is not to bash George Lucas, but I think George Lucas created Star Wars for filmmaking, not for Star Wars. You know what I mean? He was pushing the boundaries of filmmaking. He had an idea, and not saying he didn't care about the lore, but like his thing was, let's push the boundaries of filmmaking. You can tell whenever he had a hand in like writing the plot and writing it just didn't go that well, but the filmmaking aspect of it was great. I think he is much more concerned with that than with the Star Wars lore. I think Filoni has a deeper concern with the Star Wars lore.
Okay.
And he like can take what George wants, that vision that George wants, but like he cares about the characters more than George. Which is again, not to say that George didn't, but I bet if you went up to George Lucas and was like, hey, what is Ahsoka's driving, motivation, in episode whatever of Rebels, he'd probably be like, I don't know,
yeah,
whatever. But I think Filoni would have a lot more maybe nuance or like stuff to say about the,
and also, I agree with you with that, in the fact that I also think think about the characters that George created, Han, Chewie, Leia, Luke, Darth Vader, like they were the original trilogy people, and then they added in Lando later on. He knew those people, but then once you start adding all those extras, Ahsoka, the Mandalorian, Thrawn, whatever.
How much do you think he really knows about Din Djarin?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like that became too big for him, and you can even tell
probably why he sold it.
Yeah, and you can and like you can tell with episodes 1, 2, and 3, those I feel were really more about pushing the envelope of the filmmaking.
Oh yeah. That was CGI is right on the new, like you got all those thousands of clones that you see.
Yeah.
And
he was like, keep going, keep going, keep going. the stories weren't as good. It was more political,
The stories weren't as important to him.
and they weren't as important.
It was,
what was
look what we
important
can
was,
do on the
yeah,
screen.
yeah,
Like, and that's,
and
the
all
sort of thing that looks great on a movie screen.
yeah, and even going back to how many times has he changed episodes 4, 5, and 6 because he couldn't do that in the beginning, and every time technology gets better, he wants to make
Ooh,
those
you know what?
better.
I wanted to do this then and I couldn't.
And
But
I
now
couldn't.
I bet I could.
Now I bet I could. Where, like you said, Dave Filoni, he could tell you the deepest emotion for all the characters.
Yeah. I think he has a vested interest in Star Wars
Yes.
as a brand and Star Wars. I think he's because I don't know how old Dave Filoni is, probably 20 or 30 years younger than George Lucas.
Right.
Which means that he grew up as a fan.
Yes.
George Lucas wasn't a fan of Star Wars at the age of 10.
No,
you know what I mean?
no.
Like,
George Lucas wasn't even thinking about it at the age of 10.
But Filoni probably
has
was,
been,
yeah.
Since the time Filoni can walk and watch TV, I'm sure he was like, Star Wars is my favorite thing ever.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I think that a lot about, like, I sometimes I think that about, like, I think about George, like, I don't think I think that about George R.R. Martin, because, like, that dude is, like, I don't know. He's so in depth, but at the same
right.
time,
But I also, like I was saying to Kim, my opinion is when you're author famous, you're famous.
yeah, there's a big difference between author famous and TV famous.
TV famous.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
he's riding that TV famous
yeah,
high right
now
now.
he
for sure.
wants that TV fame.
Yeah.
So that's why he can't finish the books because he's so enthralled with being TV famous.
Yep. But I feel like if I asked George R.R. Martin, because forget about the show,
Right.
there are hundreds of more characters in the books,
Mhm.
literally. So I feel like if I went up, just forget about, like, talk about Fire and Blood. Corlys you were talking about Corlys Valerion on your last thing.
Yeah.
If I went, George, talk to me about the motivations behind Corlys Valerion. He would be able to, like, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
totally, because he's from old Valyria and his
Mhm.
family's ancient. But so, like, I don't know that George would necessarily be thinking about that deep.
Right.
Of the
Lucas.
lore.
Lucas
George
wouldn't be.
Lucas, right.
Yes.
And
A lot of
two
Georges.
Georges.
Too many Georges.
Not to say that maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. Sometimes I think about that about J.K. Rowling, because I'm a big, like, Harry Potter fan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, aside from all the weird stuff that J.K. Rowling's doing on
Doing
social
now
media
recently.
anymore,
Yeah.
but, like, do I think that necessarily if I went, hey, in 1991 when Harry was 11 years old, like, those deep things, do I
Mhm.
think that necessarily she would, like, really be into that now? Probably not.
Probably not. No.
Because she's an author. She wrote it.
Yeah.
She had a vested interest in the 90s, and she's moved on to other things.
Yeah.
The fan series stays on those things.
Yeah.
The fans are like, let's chew
Even
that.
like listen to a lot of Disney podcasts that I do.
Right.
Walt Disney even said that in the 50s, when I make a movie and like Snow White, he made Snow White right around the same time that he started making Disneyland.
Right.
He's like, when I make Snow White, when my final edit is done and I send it off to print and they send it out to all the movie theaters, I'm done with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
He goes, Disneyland is a living, breathing
Right.
thing that I can constantly be changing. And
a movie has an end point.
a movie has an
Right.
end point. And
It is finished.
J.K. Rowling, same thing. Like, she wrote the books.
George doesn't think that way.
George doesn't think that
when
way.
a movie's done, it's not done.
It's not done because it's not done the way he
It's
wanted
not
it to be
done.
done. It's still not done.
George
He's
is
still
going to be 99 years old, laying on his deathbed, and he's gonna be like, wait.
Mhm.
Anakin, let's fix those eyebrows.
Yeah, get rid
Something's
of the
wrong.
eyebrows.
That eyebrow is in the wrong spot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can see him breathing through the helmet. Get rid of that.
That's not realistic.
That's not realistic. Get rid of that. Get rid of that breath there. So yeah. So it is funny how some people, I'm sure JK is that way, where she's like, I'm done. I wrote those books. I'm done with it.
I
But
thought when Pottermore came out, like, maybe not. But then we got Cursed Child. I don't know if you know anything about Cursed Child. It's the worst thing that ever happened to Harry Potter.
which is that part of
That's the
the?
new play.
Oh, the play.
The play.
Trey
not
loves
new.
it.
The play. So for
Well,
what I
Trey loves the
understand,
musical. Is it the musical?
So I don't think I could be wrong. I didn't think it was a musical. It could be. I know it's a stage production.
The one that's on Broadway or no?
It's on Broadway. It started in the West End in London,
Okay.
and it came to Broadway. It's the stage production is apparently amazing,
Yes.
just
So
because of the production and the
the
visuals.
special effects are
But
really, really good.
if you can buy the like the script and read it, and it makes me angry as a Harry Potter fan.
Okay.
It takes all like the preconceived like notions of this is how magic works, and it goes screw you.
Oh,
I
really?
took 7 books to like build up all this stuff, and I hate you. Go away.
We're doing
So
it
I
completely
literally,
different.
and I have a Harry Potter tattoo.
Yeah.
I've read bits of The Cursed Child, and those bits made me so angry that I will never read the book.
So Trey loves the musical.
Mhm.
He's seen it 3 times.
I hear it's amazing to watch.
It's
I really
amazing to
do.
watch. The special effects, he said he's
Yep.
still trying to figure them out. The last time he went just a couple weeks ago, and
Just try and figure out like
yeah,
how they do this
they
stuff.
got like the leftover seat
Okay.
deal.
Oh boy.
Oh dear.
Yeah, like in the back standing room sort
No.
of thing.
He was 5th row center.
Wow.
So somehow somebody didn't buy these seats. I don't know why, but they were 5th row center. So because he was so close, he was able to see some things better. So he's like, I don't really like sitting that close
Because you can see a little
because
bit
you
of
can
the,
see a little
how
bit.
the, how the sausage is
Yeah,
made.
yeah, it takes away from it. So yeah, so that's that. A couple more news things I have. Rain Johnson, hear of this guy before?
Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson.
That guy.
That
We don't
guy?
talk about that guy.
Yeah, so he says he's even more proud of Star Wars The Last Jedi on its 5th anniversary than he was when it came out.
Maybe he should reconsider.
Maybe. During an interview with Empire magazine, the 48-year-old filmmaker explained, I'm even more proud of it 5 years later. When I was up to bat, I really swung at the bat.
Well, you can swing away just like they did in Signs, but that doesn't mean you're going to hit the glass of water.
Yeah, so
That was a weird reference. I
That
don't know
was a
that even
very
you
weird.
got that one.
No.
That's you remember Signs, the movie?
Yeah.
Remember when, like, what actually killed the aliens?
Oh, I only saw wait, was that the M. Night Shyamalan
Yeah.
movie? No, I saw it once maybe because
Wow, really?
yeah, and I loved M. Night's first 4 movies maybe.
Or it was I See Dead People. Whatever
I
that
See
was.
Dead People. The Village I liked.
Really, I didn't like the.
I
The
loved
Village was pretty good. Village was pretty good.
So I had Trey rewatch it with
Glass.
me.
What was the Glass one?
That was like the sequel to Unbreakable.
Right, that was a good one.
Unbreakable was good. And then I do remember seeing Signs.
Signs was maybe my favorite.
But I think because it was aliens, I was shocked, and then just like, okay.
Signs, I think they, especially considering the time, like whatever, early 2000s or whatever, it was just so good how they like built all this drama and tension and terror without showing them for such a long time.
Yeah.
But the big thing, spoiler alert, that wound up killing the freaking aliens was water.
Oh, okay.
So
that's
like
really funny.
The little girl, for whatever reason, like would always leave glasses of water all around the house.
Okay.
And
because that's what kids do. I hate to tell you.
I do it too, man.
Okay.
Honest to God, I do it too. And so like the son was like a baseball prodigy, and the girl left glasses everywhere, and there was this alien in their house, and he was about to kill the girl, and Mel Gibson goes, "Swing away, dude!" And the baseball prodigy's like, "Oh, I get it." And he picks up his baseball bat and he starts smashing the glasses of water all over the place, and it splashes on the bad guy. And he's like, "Oh, this hurts! Oh my God!" I don't know why that came up.
That's really funny. It was
anyway.
Oh, because you said Ryan Johnson could swing away, but
swing away.
You're not always going to hit the glass of water.
He did not hit the glass of water. Go on.
When Cameron was in preschool, one of the other kids that was in preschool, his mom was a like set designer or something like that for movies.
No way.
And she did a lot of the first 5 or 6 M. Night movies, or maybe 4 or 5 M. Night movies with him. And in Unbreakable, there's a scene when Samuel L. Jackson, as a kid, breaks his arm.
Sure.
She had that cast.
Mr. Glass.
Yeah. She had that cast over her mantle because it was actually her arm because she was a shorter person.
So she was the mold.
She was the mold for the cast. And like M. Night signed it. I think Sam Jackson signed it.
Oh, like, and it was like to sign it as like the prop.
Yeah,
because the cast are signed. That's
so
funny.
she had it, and she had it sitting on her.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. She had it sitting on her nightstand.
Bad, man.
Okay, so in a major new Empire interview, so this is in Empire magazine, so you can check it out. Not Empire Strikes Back. Ryan Johnson looks back on The Last Jedi for its 5th anniversary, reflecting with a few years' distance on his episode in the Skywalker saga. I'm even more proud of it now. When I was up at bat, I really swung at the bat. The film, he says, is not just a Star Wars movie. It's a movie about Star Wars and what it means to fans, himself included. I think it's impossible for any of us to approach Star Wars without thinking about it as a myth that we were raised with and how that myth, that story, baked itself into us and affected us. Johnson explains, the ultimate intent was not to strip away The intent was to get to the basic, fundamental power of myth. And ultimately, I hope the film is an affirmation of the power of the myth of Star Wars in our lives. I think
I think Ryan
trying.
Johnson should just go away.
Yeah, he wants
Honestly-
to write his own trilogy for Star Wars.
He won't. They took it away from him. Listen, I will still watch The Last Jedi. I still like it as a good movie, but the sequel trilogy still angers me.
Yes,
Just because it's 3 decent movies
right.
that should have been one great
Mm-hmm.
story,
Mm-hmm.
one large great story, and it just wasn't.
And it wasn't.
They didn't have a shared vision. They should have looked at Marvel and went, "That's what we should do."
That's what we should do.
And they got onto that too late.
Yep.
It's happening with Mandalorian. It's happening like that's all good, but like if they had gotten hip with that 10 years ago,
Yeah.
like who knows?
Yeah. Star Wars could have been $1 billion company.
I mean,
oh wait,
you
it is.
just imagine what it could be though. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
think about like 15 years ago, like when Ed Norton was the Hulk.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
there was. Do you think any of them had any idea what the Marvel Cinematic Universe would become?
Right.
Like, not even close. Like,
Were there 3 different people who played Hulk? I know Ed
2.
Norton.
Well,
was
there
one.
were 3 because there was the Incredible Hulk, which was
Okay.
what Eric Bana,
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
and then they rebooted it to Edward Norton, and I really liked Edward Norton.
Yeah.
But apparently Edward Norton was not good to work with.
Okay.
So they recast it to Mark Ruffalo,
Right.
which is similar to Rhodey, right? Rhodey was Cuba Gooding Jr., right?
Yes. No.
No,
Rhodey,
God, Rhodey was
a guy that actually lived or in the Philadelphia area at first.
God, what was his name? Not Cuba.
Oh.
What an idiot I am.
He had that
Terrence Howard.
Yes.
Terrence Howard.
Yep. Sherry.
Who I liked better, honestly, than the new Rhodey.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought he kind of had that edge
Uh-huh.
that like Rhodes needed, and I remember like in the first Iron Man might be my favorite Marvel movie. I think it was
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
And like when Rhodey like saw the iron suit, he was like, "Next time, baby." I'm like, "Yeah, next time."
Next
He's
time.
gonna
So funny
and-
story about him. His kid was in Sherry's class when she taught in another school district.
Yeah,
And he was just becoming famous at the time.
I've heard Terrence Howard is a terrible person like to work with.
He went on like a field trip with them and he was horrible.
Like his as a dad,
As
he came
a-
on the field trip.
Yeah, as a
Okay.
dad, he came on the field trip and he was just like egomaniac, like, don't you know who I am?
From what I understand,
type
that's
of-
why he was not recast.
Yeah.
So there
type
you
of,
go.
Type of personality. So yeah, so that's our brush with Terrence Howard.
Good old Terrence.
Mhm.
You know what's funny is we're 57 minutes into an episode we had literally 0 content for.
Right. So I found I got some more news.
Let's
I got
do it.
some more stuff.
I'm gonna do it again.
Do it again. But only in the right ear. This one's not really news. This one is for me, I think it's funnier than anything else. Did you know that there's a Star Wars hotel in Florida, Nick?
Is this the same one that
That's
that costs
$5,000 for 2
I've
days.
heard tell
yes.
of this $5,000 a night or for
So,
2 days.
Two things.
2,500 a night.
2,500. Yeah. So Disney Live Entertainment is seeking. This is a whole article, by the way. They fill with so much filibuster with so much other nonsense, fluff, and ads and whatever. But Disney Live Entertainment is seeking performers to portray Darth Vader and Chewbacca from the Star Wars saga for immediate and future full-time and part-time roles. Performers will have the opportunity to bring these roles to life, in addition to performing as the world-famous Disney characters at the Walt Disney World Resort near Orlando, Florida, the job post stated. So they're hiring Chewbacca and Darth Vader for the new 2023 voyage dates are set for Star Wars The Galactic Star Cruiser. So apparently maybe they're going to be changing up the story a little bit.
Okay.
Because at $5,000 for 2 days, if you go back, you don't want to do the same thing all
sure.
over
It's
again.
like, hey, we did that. I guess we'll never come back again.
Right.
Right.
So at least they're getting smart enough that they're going, okay, we're going to
Let's
need to
change
change
it up every
this up a
couple
little
years,
bit.
yeah.
So that and D23 is coming up. So hopefully there's going to be some new announcements, Star Wars announcements. We don't know, but 8 days, 14 hours, and 25 minutes from right now will be the next D23.
And I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they can debut. They can debut. God, I've been hoping for any sort of anything about the Acolyte.
Yes.
Just something to tell me what the hell is
what
even
it
happening.
is. Yeah.
I'm still waiting for more like gameplay trailers for the new Jedi Fallen Order game.
Right.
There's lots of stuff that can go. So hopefully we'll get a lot of juicy info.
Yeah. And
in the
I
days.
think they have 2 or 3 new Star Wars games in production. The new Fallen Order. I think there's another, not an MMOP like Star Wars Galaxies was, but just another
Some
like
sort of RPG.
RPG
I
type
hope
of
so.
all
Like,
world.
since The Mandalorian came out, we've been talking about like it just lends itself. Hey, here's this person who is made better by their armor.
Yeah.
Like, what more formula do you need? Like, this is a video game.
Right.
Just do exactly this.
Yeah.
I'm a Mandalorian. As I level up, ooh, I get whistling birds. Ooh, I get my flamethrower. Like,
And
come here now.
also the, what do they call it? The Void? The set that they
the volume.
the volume. The volume is built on game
technology.
technology.
Right, the 3D
yeah.
technology.
I forget what the software is called, but it's built on that game 3D game technology. So that way, as they're walking, it's rendering as it's going and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So how cool would it be to know that the scenes are even the actual scenes that were in the background of the show?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, because it's already all built in this world.
Yep.
So you could use it again, and you'd be like, dude, I'm playing the same exact thing.
Yep.
One more thing I have. This is it. I promise. This is more for YouTube.
Look at that.
I 3D printed.
Is that 3D print?
This is 3D printed now. So I bought the visor. I haven't cut it out yet to fit in here, but I 3D printed, and if you look on the inside, you can see it's like 5 different colors.
Yeah, look at that.
Because I was using the old plastic that we had left over from like 3 years ago, and then I bought brand new plastic for all the gray parts are all brand new. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different pieces,
8 pieces,
parts,
right.
and then glued it together.
So
with
what's the plan for that? Is that like a specific helmet, or
so it is?
Is that Mando's
it is
helmet?
the Mandalorian's helmet.
So Din Djarin's helmet.
It's Din Djarin's helmet on Tinkercad.
Okay.
One of the people. There's multiple different versions on Tinkercad, so I don't know.
That looks pretty good, man.
It's pretty close. I had to these earpieces. Were like you had to glue them on.
Okay.
I printed out another set of earpieces first, and they were the wrong ones. They were slightly different. So I don't know if I were to take this to the Mandalorian Mercs, if they would approve it or not.
Right.
But this is what it does have to be 3D printed for it to be approved or bought as a hard plastic one. The foam one that I made a couple years ago would not have cut it. But if you want to hold this for a second just to see.
Hold on. There we go. Okay.
There we go. But yeah, so
that's right. It feels substantial.
It's very substantial. Yeah.
I have a big head. Let's see if
it fits on my head. So you might have to
really big head.
take your glasses off.
Oh,
yeah, it fits.
It does fit. That's actually really rad.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good right now.
Yeah. You like
finish the podcast.
Finish the podcast with that on.
It's gonna be
so
hard to drink, but,
so yeah, so it was 8 pieces that I printed out. Now I was talking to Matthew from the 501st.
Sure, Matthew L.
Yes, and he was like, dude, he goes, come over my house. I want to show you all my stuff. And I didn't go, but we
could be talking about you on Dateline right now.
I know.
Sorry, man. I'm just kidding.
He's talking about
this fits better than I expected to. Like I always thought, man, Mandalorian helmets would be terrible to look through.
Right.
But like the eye slits fit pretty well. And considering, think about the technology that might be available to you.
Yeah.
I think a HUD could go pretty well.
A HUD could definitely go over that pretty well. Yeah. So
I'm gonna take this off now because I can't see. But, like I'm very impressed with just everything about that.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. But he's talking about he finished up the who were the blue from the Mandalorian. It was the girl, 2 girls and a boy. They were the blue troopers, the blue ones that Mando met. The ones that took their helmet off, and he was like, "You're not real Mandalorians because you."
Sabine, not Sabine.
Is it Death Watch? No, it's not Death
It's
Watch.
not Death Watch. It's Doug's gonna get angry at us.
Yes.
Anyway, go on.
Come on, Doug. Where are you?
Right?
But so he was doing a build for that, where the guys were this Death Watch bunker.
Yeah.
The blue guys are Death Watch
Oh,
bunker. Yeah. So the guys were doing that, but one of the guys in there has a really big, expensive 3D printer, so he was able to print out the whole helmet
Just in one go.
In one go.
Wow. Holy shnikes. That's a big old printer.
Yeah. It's like a $10,000
Yeah,
printer.
I'd imagine
Like,
so.
the one that I used was like a $4,000 printer, and I had to do it in 8 pieces. So
Yeah.
you're talking like $10,000.
Yep.
I think he said it took like 4 days to print out.
Set it and forget
constantly. Yeah.
How many times do you think that dude had to change out the freaking
the filament and
Yeah.
stuff? Yeah. Or the worst part, if you're like 3/4 of the way through a 4-day print and something happens and it messes up and you got to start all
What do you
over
do? Yeah.
again, you're like, dude, like
Well.
I've had that happen with like 24-hour prints.
Yeah, forget about 4-day prints.
4-day print, forget about it. But yeah, with those 8 pieces, each one of those 8 pieces was probably like 12 hours each.
Wow.
And the hardest part, the front pieces, because of all the different curves and stuff,
Right.
I had to like lay them down flat, and then it had to print supports on the bottom to support. Those were like 16-hour prints, and
Yeah.
they used up so much plastic for all the supports and everything like that. But I mean, it cost me $20 worth of plastic, and because I already had
It
the
looks
3D
rad, man.
printer,
Like, that like once I put that on, I'm like, this feels good.
yeah,
And it, like I feel like 3D printing maybe has just gotten better because like it feels solid.
yeah,
Like I don't feel like I'm gonna break it.
yeah.
you know?
The model that I used for it, I mean, they made the walls of the helmet thick.
Yeah. It
So-
doesn't feel like there's hollow. You know what
Yeah.
I mean, it feels pretty solid.
It feels pretty solid. So yeah, so that was the last thing. So now I have the ability to 3D print helmets, and it'll be a lot of fun. So
Dude, so so you have the Mando helmet.
I have the Mando
What's
helmet.
next?
I can do
Vader?
Vader.
do a
wa-
Vader
well,
helmet?
I did find a Stormtrooper helmet,
That's a good one.
but it was a full thing. So I'll have to
You'd have to cut out the eye
cut-
slits
well-
and put in like a
yeah, but I'll have to cut it into pieces
okay.
to be able to print it out in the amount of
Right.
different pieces that it'll fit on the printer.
Right.
But I have like
A clone helmet?
a clone
Alright, I
helmet,
see
like a
that.
small clone helmet, which same thing. If I cut it up into pieces, I could print it out. And this one's pretty thick also. Although the Stormtrooper and the clone helmets, I was reading online, like some people had the mask pieces on like magnets because since they wrap around the bottom of your neck so much that you wouldn't actually be able to put it on your head
Right.
and whatever. So you'd have to like
Right. Kind
so-
of connect it.
connect it so that
Like
way.
so my motorcycle helmet is a 3/4, but you can also like attach like
a front piece. Yeah.
And it kind of makes me feel like a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
So I haven't worn it because it's summer, but once winter comes, I'm gonna connect that bad boy. I'll send you. I feel pretty rad in it. I feel
So
like a
we
Star
could
Wars
3D
character.
print the Stormtrooper front for the bottom.
Oh yes.
Or even like
That's
Darth
and
Vader's like
literally-
triangle.
Literally, there's just a connector that just slots right in. Man.
Yeah.
Oh, that could totally.
That would be
happen.
so cool. That would
Yeah.
be so cool. So yeah, so there we go. So now we're gonna start playing around with a bunch of 3D printing stuff
Love
as
it.
well. So love
Absolutely love it.
it. So there we go. A lot of little dumb news out there.
Hey man, it's a light Star Wars summer.
Yeah.
That's feel like what summer is usually like for Star Wars. But we've got loads of Star Wars content coming our way. We've got Andor first and foremost, then Bad Batch, Ahsoka, lots of stuff coming our way. So if you haven't already, I think maybe check out the Kings Road podcast.
Sure, why not?
They're good folk.
Good folk.
I've been listening. The new series is really great. Check out our other Ears
Ears Up.
Up podcasts all over the place.
The Supreme Resort,
Supreme tacos and
Taco Supreme
burritos and chalupas.
Yeah.
I'm so hungry.
Mm.
All good stuff. But we've got a lot more content coming your way, and the school year's in, so we're gonna have time. I'll have time.
Well,
You probably
yes.
will have less time, but I'll have more time.
You'll have
because
more
school's
time.
in.
Yes.
I won't
'cause
have to go drive to LBI.
You won't
to
be
go to the
driving 2
restaurant.
hours to work every day.
Yeah.
So yes.
But
So I think that's it.
yeah, man. Rob and I came into this going, we have nothing to talk about, and here we are, an hour and 8 minutes later. The wonders of podcasting.
The wonders of two guys who can talk
and drink.
and drink.
That's
That's
it.
right.
So check us out. We're gonna definitely be coming out with more stuff soon. Now that we got Andor coming our way.
Yeah.
So it's the 31st of August right now. So you can bet we'll have at least one more podcast before Andor hits, and then we're gonna hit the ground running with that. So
You got it, dude.
other than that, life is good. Enjoy yourself. Be well to each other, and